What's up with it? This your boy J Murv, and welcome back to the Not the Happiest Place podcast. Man, first of all, let me just say this. Thank you guys for rocking with me. Thank you guys for checking out the content. Thank you guys for sending love and donations and support, all of that stuff, because a lot of y'all know what we went through down there at Disney. You know what I'm saying? We know it's just a bunch of BS, and a lot of it is due to the managers. But thank y'all for coming through. Man, how's your 26 starting? I hope it's great. I hope it's great. Mine is starting off really, really well. A lot of people that I was going to have on the show, unfortunately, I can't have them on right now because they have legal things going on, and I don't want them to say anything that's going to mess up their case. So once all that is filtered out, they will be on. But I have some more people coming on, things of that nature, people that y'all really gonna love. But if you're watching on YouTube, thank you. If you're checking me out on Spotify, Apple Music, thank you. But this is gonna be an interesting year for me because I have a lot of things that I can't speak about that are going on, and things are going great. You know what I'm saying? This journey to clear my name and bring awareness to what's going on at the park it's ah, it's going really, really well. So happy 2026. Man, I tell y'all, this is just gonna be a great year for me. It's gonna be a very, very great year for me and what I'm doing and all of that stuff. Everything that's just coming down the pipeline, it's just gonna be really, really good. But if you are here, go ahead, smash the like, go ahead, follow, go ahead to my Instagram page for daily information. Follow those pages. Let's keep pushing this. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. Lots of information came in, from cast that are still there, cast members that have, moved on with their lives and they want to talk about their experiences. A lot of information is coming in, a lot of stuff that is hard to believe, but I do believe it because I was there. I know the little crappy games that they play, but on this episode, we're just gonna talk about a few things. All right. So stay tuned, buckle up. Now, let me get into this. For anybody that's new, what I'm doing here, I'm talking about my experiences, my stories, and everyone else's stories. I'm talking about rumors and gossips of things that's going around the park. You know what I mean? A little Disney tea, you know what I'm talking about. There are cast members that are still there, managers, all of them that still, hey, Maul, this is what's going on. Put this out there. We can't because retaliation. I completely understand that. But anybody that's new to the page, this is what we're doing. We're talking about Disney experiences behind the scenes. I know when you go to the park and everybody's happy and eating cotton candy and churros and ice cream, you don't see what's going on behind those walls. So with that being said, let's get into this. Now, I know everyone has seen by now the Evil Queen from Disneyland that was, I guess, fired or let go or whatever the case was. I don't know what that situation is about. I don't know if she said anything, but I mean, that lady was awesome. I would see her around the park and she was into that role. You know what I'm talking about? It's sad. It really is sad, but a lot of times things happen. I've heard the rumors that I guess somebody said she was too into her role, and this happened to the guy that played Peter Pan or whatever the case was. I don't know, but the management part of me wants to ask the manager what happened. Will I get the truth? Probably not. But everything I go back to like management because I know how dirty they can be. So I do not believe it was like a corporate decision that Iger came down or somebody from corporate was like, yeah, we want to get rid of her. A lot of times that's just management. 90% of the times, hell, maybe I can say 100% of the time, it's just management. Management doing things that, who knows why they do things. But a lot of the managers, they are bozo. There are a lot of good managers, but there are more bad managers than good managers because a lot of bad managers do things and the good managers just back up. You know what I mean? Because they're outnumbered, and I get it. I understand. I was there too. There was a lot of things that my hands were tied on, but I wish her the best. But she killed her role as the evil queen. You know what I'm saying? So much respect to her. Much respect to her. So yeah, man, it's just wild. A lot of the emails that I've been getting, and I want to address this, that cast members send me emails, of course, because they can't speak about these things. A lot of them have spoke up about things and nothing was done. So one of the biggest things that came to my attention, a manager by the name of Gloria on the DCA custodial side, and I guess her buddy Olivia Garcia, I believe the last name is, but everybody that's in DCA, they know who I'm talking about. Now, the stuff that I've read, I really can't believe that this person has all of these reports against them and they are still employed or they still have their position as a lead. So, my question would be to the managers, and a lot of people said they went to the management, they went to Gloria, and nothing's done because they believe that this person and Gloria are family. I reached out to a few people, and it's confirmed on the people that I asked. They said that no, they are not family, but there may be a situation that this Olivia person has a little dirt on Gloria. I don't know, allegedly, but a lot of times that happens. When you have dirt on a manager, you will dare them to come after you. I mean, we see this in security all the time, because there was a manager that got caught doing some things that were pictures shown or text messages, allegedly, is what I'm told. And this person was allowed to quit, retire, whatever the case was. But I get it because, again, you tell on me, I'm going to tell on you. That stuff has been going on since I got there. And I got there in 2015. 2015. And I started seeing like little weird stuff going on. But I said that to say that Gloria, Olivia, whatever manager is in charge, if you have all of these complaints, written statements, if people have gone to LR, HR, ER, labor relations, employee relations, human resources, joke. Anyway, but if these people have gone there and you guys haven't at least pulled this person's lead status, what's really going on? Now, is it a case of, and I've seen this before, to where cast members will bring up a problem for the person, then that person goes and they start crying and no, they're just being mean and blah, 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 blah. I've seen that before, but at what point is it a you problem that you are really doing something? At what point is it that? Because come on now, somebody has to be smart. Somebody has to be smart. So I know you guys watch, all of you. Um, I've been getting emails about you all, and it's very, very disturbing. Liam, it's disturbing what I'm hearing. Scott, you need to really jump on your crew. I don't know if you have or if you haven't, but reports of leads, bullying leads, giving out details, giving out the work to do, and then they go disappear, hide, and sleep. What's really going on? And this is why I started this podcast, to bring awareness to a lot of things, not just my own stuff, but what's going on around this park. So what is going on? It's out there, and I'm going to be looking for updates to see if anything changed. But I feel here at the Not the Happiest Place podcast that you guys need to sit Olivia down, or you need to do something, fire her or do something. And you know what? And I bet you this. I wonder if any of those complaints or those statements even made it to anyone's desk, or did they go in the shredder? Because it's known to happen. So To everyone out there that have written statements about what's going on, make sure you keep those statements just in case it comes up. And if they can say, well, no one's written any statements or blah, 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 you have that documentation. All this stuff is really about documentation. And I am so serious about that. I am so serious about making sure that you guys have documentation, because if they don't want to help you at the park, there is help outside. There is lawyers. The state of California has things that you can file and do things to. And let's see what really happens when the big dogs come down and start getting all in that business. It is what it is at that point. All's fair in war, right? But I hope there's a change that happens. I hope you guys do something, because whoever this Olivia person is at DCA, custodial third shift, I mean, my emails are just like gone, I mean, full of just this stuff. Not just that person, but other people as well. Little, sexual harassment things that are going on, rude comments, stuff of that nature, unwanted touching, things of that nature. And we all know it goes on. We know it happens. So I hope you guys start cleaning that up. You know what I'm saying? But us here at the Not the Happiest Place podcast, we will be following up, because I want to know if anything's going on. But, you know, moving on, man, I'm telling you, I'm having a blast doing this. And again, thank you guys for checking this out. Now, on my Instagram page, I put up I put a post up about Fred Ballin. Now, people wanted me to elaborate on it, talk more about what happened. And, I don't have any problem with that. I will do that, So one thing I like about Fred is the fact that you know what you're going to get. All right. Fred is not going to play no games with you. He's a butthole. He's a penis wrinkle, and he knows it. He's an a-hole. He is. That's just who he is. I know this. And he and I, we just kind of had this like irritation. I don't like each other type of vibe. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have a problem with him. I don't think he has a problem with me, but I think the issue came with us is the fact that I wouldn't let him bully me at all. It's just not my nature. It's just not going to happen. So I'll tell you one thing that happened. I'm Tango 3 at this time, and I was over the central area, the gates. I'm over the gates, gate 7, gate 8, etc., like all around the property. So I'm in the office one day in my Tango 3 spot, and I'm getting some paperwork ready. And Fred comes in, and he's been known to be a little bully. Fred has been known just to get away with murder, and it is the truth. And I believe he has information on other managers too, which is why nobody bothers Fred. But he's close to retirement, I believe. So a lot of times when you're close to retirement, they don't want to touch you regardless. But back to what I was saying. I'm sitting at my desk, and he comes in, and he's just like messing with people, just being a dick to people. That's just what he is. And he walks over where I'm sitting. He's like, "Oh, hey, Jamal, what's up?" I'm like, "Uh-huh, what's up?" He's like, "Oh, well, this part of your hair right here, it isn't twisted up right." I said, "Ha ha, you're a funny boy." I said, "Well, at least I have the ability to still grow hair." Because Fred is going bald. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, how you gonna talk about somebody's hair and you growing bald, you losing your hair? Like, make that make sense, bruh. So he got upset. I mean, this dude, he turned red, and he kind of looked down and he said, "Hey, oh, what's with those shoes that you're wearing?" I said, "First of all, don't worry about my shoes." I said, "And you're not even a central manager. You're a manager of the screener. So go handle screener business and stay out of my business." Like, I was just irritated with dude, period. So he storms off. Next thing you know, here comes Valinda, security manager. Valinda. Here comes Valinda. All right. And she says, "So what's up with those shoes, Jamal?" And I said, "You know what?" I said, "Valinda, I know Fred ran into the office because of what I just told him. So he went to cry to you. I said, so let me tell you what's up with my shoes. We live in a world now where we can identify as what we want, right? She says, yeah. I said, well, I identify as Michael Jordan. So I need these shoes. Okay. And I said, furthermore, I said, if you really want to know, my boots ripped. I didn't have time to go get any new ones. So I put these black Jordans on, all black, and the sole was white. So I figured just one day of that, what is the problem? I'm still getting my work done. But I said, you want to make a big issue out of my shoes when we have bigger issues in security. Like what? Like managers coming in whenever they want to come in, leaving whenever they want to leave, messing with the cast members, bullying cast members. You know what I'm saying? Having little hookups, sexually harassing cast members. We have a bigger problem than that. But you want to talk about my shoes? Get it together. I said what I said. 10 of them toes down. It's just facts. So I didn't say anything that wasn't true. But see, they don't like to be called out. And I did just that. That's just my background. I'm not going to allow you to bully me. It just ain't going to happen. You know what I'm saying? But I said it with respect. So she walks away. I finish up what I was doing and I left. And at this point, man, I'm like, I'm irritated. I'm fuming because what was going on with me at that time was I was passed up for security manager for the second time. And it was getting kind of, no, second or third time. And it was getting irritating. It's like, why are you guys just holding me in this position, telling me I'm doing such a great job? What is going on? So, yes, my performance started to drop. And I would admit that because it's like I'm busting my behind for what? There's a manager who I won't name, and I have the utmost respect for this manager. But they told me flat out, like, you have to go somewhere else. And I talked about this in, I believe, in the first episode of the podcast that you have to go somewhere else. It's like, you'll be great as a manager, but you're not going to play any games. You're not going to play their game. You're not going to allow them to do things. You're going to call them out on the BS. And they don't like that, Jamal. They do not like that. They don't want a manager with a brain because the way you are, you're not going to play the game. A lot of us will play the game, but you're not going to play the game because of your integrity. So I get that. So what, a few days went on. I'm back at the office. And this is where things kind of went weird. Belinda comes back in the office and she says, hey, Jamal, can I talk to you? Now, of course, for me, I'm like, all right, cool. Do I need a shop steward? No, no, you don't need a shop steward. We're just going to talk. Okay, mistake number one on my part, because I don't care if a manager says, hi, you get a shop steward. I don't care what it is, just to cover your butt. Now, this is when I was a regular officer. I wasn't a manager at the time, but I was just a lead. So we go over to the office down by Luigi's and we're talking. And she's like, well, I wanted to talk to you off the record. Lies. I want to talk to you off the record because I've noticed a decline in your performance. Like, what's going on? Like, what happened to that fire that you had when you first became a lead, which was years ago. But I said, okay, I get you. I said, that fire is going out because I'm busting my butt trying to move up. I took the gates. I took the position that you guys gave me and I turned it around. I built rapport with cast members and we are flourishing. Boom, 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 boom. We are doing things. The numbers from what I was told, we were doing really, really good. You know what I mean? Everybody's doing what they're supposed to do. People are coming to work and, we're you know, catching things, all kind of stuff. Like my officers were the best. They were killing it. But you guys are not backing us up. You guys are harassing a lot of the officers. I got to hear this stuff. Then when I bring it to your attention, you guys aren't even, you aren't fixing anything. You're making it worse. And then for my situation, I want to move up or I want to move on. And you guys keep blocking me from that. What more do I have to do to get a management position? What more is there? I ain't getting on my knees. I ain't bending over. I ain't kissing nobody's behind. I'm not going to do that. My work ethic should show. So she's like, well, that she says, well, that time will come. It'll come, but you just have to be patient. I'm like, I got to be patient. Like, how long do I have to be patient? But I said, all right, cool. I tell you what, I'm gonna go back to doing what I'm doing, and it is what it is. But at that point, I made it up in my mind that I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna go elsewhere. I got to be quiet about it because I know if they figure out that I'm trying to get out, they're going to take my lead status, or they're going to do something for me to be disqualified for management. And that's how that went. And I thought we were all good. Again, didn't think anything of it up until maybe 2 days later, something like that. I saw Adam, Adam Pap. I used to call him shiny shoes, you know what I mean? 'Cause that boy had, he had some shiny shoes on. That boy was clean, but he said, "Hey, he said, Jamal, let me talk to you." And I was cool with Adam. I mean, I knew he was into some things, but whatever. I was cool with dude. I didn't know for sure, but and he said, "Hey, let me talk to you for a minute." I said, "Hey, what's up?" He said, "Man, he said, we're cool, we're cool." I'm like, "Yeah." I said, "What's going on?" He said, "What happened with you and Valinda?" And I said, "What do you mean what happened with me and Valinda?" I said, "We just, she had some concerns, about my shoes because Fred was upset that I disrespect him, whatever the case was. He was upset. Fred was upset that he talked about my hair, I talked about his, and he went and told Valinda." He said, "Yeah, because did you look at your record card?" I said, "Wait, what's on my record card?" He says, "Well, I think you better look at your record card because Belinda, apparently, according to Adam, she wrote an email to the team or whatever and said some off the wall stuff." And I was kind of like, whoa, wait a minute. Like, I thought we were just talking. And he was like, "Man, you know better than that." He said, "You don't talk to a manager without the shop steward." I said, "Yeah, I get you, but she told me it was off the record that we're just talking, that she was a little concerned, quote unquote, concerned my ass." My bad, my bad. I'm sorry, forget. Hey, but I looked at my record card and I forget what she gave me, and it was like a documented conversation, and I'm like, wow. I said, "What is this about?" And he told me that, she was really, I don't know if she was talking reckless, but she was being real negative in this email or whatever it is that she wrote. I didn't read it. He's coming to me telling me. So obviously he knows something. But when I looked at my record card, it was there. And of course, I got upset. And I went to Jen at the time and I said, "Hey, look, she told me that this was off the record. Nothing was going on my record card, that we were just talking." I let Jen know everything. Jen went to Valinda. Apparently, Valinda lied to Jen. Valinda told Jen that she told me it was a documented conversation. And I'm like, "No, you didn't. No, you didn't." It's one thing they know from me. Now, I could be, uh, people can say I'm petty. They can say I'm mean and straightforward, whatever, but you can't call me no liar because I'm not going to lie. I'm going to tell you the truth and how it is. But, Jen looked into it. I can't remember if it came off, but I do know there have been other reports of Valinda doing this to people. I wasn't the only one. She's done it before. She's been talked to before about letting cast members know that this is going to be a documented conversation. Now, everybody know I'm not going to talk to you without a union shop steward. If I need a shop steward, I'm going to get one. That was a bad call on me because I should have never trusted this chick at all. You know what I'm saying? Especially all the stuff that I've seen around the office. Nah, but that's where that came from. You know what I mean? And that was just one of those things where it's like, man, you really can't trust what's going on. You always got to CYA, cover your own ass. And I would say that a lot to my crew. You got to cover yourself. You just have to, because the little things that they're pulling, it's like it's crazy and it's annoying that you can't trust your managers. You know what I'm saying? Which is why I say documentation. Document a lot of things. There are a lot of things that I've documented, and I told them, now I don't have no documents because I know the little stupid little games they play, but I have documents. You got to have times and dates and everything like that just to keep yourself safe in case you need to go another route. So that was that story that happened. And it kind of like went left from there. And I really got the feeling that they were going to indeed try to set me up on something, because there was a lot of nitpicking going on with me, and I got so tired of it. I hated it, but that's the way it goes, and that's just how it was. But in that moment, I started really thinking like I got to get out of here. So I started training my replacement. You know what I mean? I started training my replacement to take over Tango 3, because I knew I was done. I was over. And at that time, I was already talking to, my boy Tom Brown about jumping ship and trying to go for management and getting guidance and how can I do that into another department. But that's another story. We'll talk about that. But let me take you guys to the day that I was actually terminated. Or I'm sorry, let me take you to the day that I was put out on suspension. Now, before I do that, listen to this recording.
Hey, bro. Sebastian been running his mouth saying that he and Kim are gonna get you fired. He doesn't like black people, and he says that you shouldn't even be on the management team. Armando's another one saying that he doesn't like you, and that there's many lies that they be saying to fuck with you, man.
Ain't that crazy? So I received this message, I don't know from who, but like I believe 3 days before I was actually put out on suspension. And I knew things were going on, because Kimberly was after me, Sebastian was lying on me, he was after me, and like he said, oh, Jamal's too popular with the cast members. Like, what? I don't I don't know what it is about people losing their hair that I've been had an issue with, because Sebastian, he bald up top. Yeah, that's why I call him Friar Tuck. But Fred was losing his hair and he had an issue. Sebastian is bald, he got an issue. Like, what's up with these bald headed heifers like mad at me for? But I listened to this message, and a day before I had to prepare, so I didn't come to work. Now somebody called me and said, hey, FYI, Kim is here. Now, why is Kim at the office at that hour? Because she was going to set me up then. I didn't come to work. So I came to work the next day. Got another phone call. FYI, Kim is in the office. Now, I get to the office and I get my paperwork ready, and I'm about to go meet my crew over at the spot. And Kim's like, oh, do you have a second? I said, well, I'm going over to, I forget what they call it. I said, well, I'm going over to roll call or whatnot. And she's, oh, well, handle that and come back. And I'm like, nah, we're going to get this out of the way right now. Because in my mind, I'm like, I already know what this uncivilized heifer is doing. So I said, nah, you know what? I don't have to go. Let's go. Let's go ahead and talk. She said, well, let's go down to security investigations and talk. I'm like, well, here we go. So at this point, Vera's in the office, but Vera doesn't know what's going on. So she sees me walk by, and, I kind of glanced, and she had this look on her face like, what the hell is happening? So we're walking to security investigations, and this bozo, Kimberly Oliveris, Kim, she has, she likes to make small talk. Like, so how you doing? I'm like, I'm good. I'm fine. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, stop trying to set me up for the kill, and I already know what's going on. You're not catching me by surprise. I didn't say that, but in my mind, I'm like, she's not catching me by surprise. I am very, very, very aware of what's going on. So we get there, and there's this investigator bozo. I can't remember his name, but if I remember your name, I'll put you on blast too, because you're stupid. I can't remember your name. So we sit down, And she's like, well, um, we want to talk about your time. And I'm like, all right, cool, whatever, let's get into it. So this bozo, he's like, hey, how you doing? I'm like, bro, like, stop the small talk. What is it that you want? He says, well, we've been looking into your time. I'm like, oh, ain't that ironic? Why all of a sudden are you looking into my time? But okay, proceed. Well, we noticed that you put time in that you didn't have. Now, at this point, I didn't know I didn't have the time. I was just coming back from a vacation. I had got sick, so I don't know I'm out of time. I can see on my end that I had the time. But I'm like, well, I didn't know that. Well, you kind of forgot to put in the time. I said, okay, so put the time in. It says, well, we were looking at it and we see that you put in a day that you didn't have time for. You did that one day and we just kind of let it go. And you did it twice and we just kind of let that go. So I said, okay, if you just sat here and said you saw me do it one time, then you need to call me out on it because obviously there's a problem. I don't really know. I thought I had the time. If I didn't and you caught it, why didn't anybody tell me? Aha. Aha. Why didn't anybody tell me this was going on? So you purposely let me do this 3 times and nobody said anything about it? So this bozo says, well, so payroll didn't call you? Why would payroll call me? Stupid. Payroll doesn't call you about that. I'm a manager. Stupid. So why would payroll call me? I said, now what used to happen is whoever was keeping the time or whatnot, they would send a message to your boss and say, hey, this person needs to put in time for XYZ. That never happened. But my thing is, if you guys saw it and you didn't call me out on it, you purposely waited to call me out on it. There's a problem. Smells like a setup to me, doesn't it? So, what they were insinuating is that I did this on purpose. And what I also found out, which they didn't mention then, is they were trying to say, because of Sebastian Fuentes, they were trying to say that I was not using time on purpose, and Vera knew about it. What? Like, dude, do you know how stupid you sound? Little do you guys know, Vera was on me about a lot of stuff. It wasn't anything that I was doing. She just wanted me to be at my full potential. So Vera state, hey, Jamal, make sure you do this, make sure you do that, make sure you do this, make sure you do that. As a leader, she was being a leader. So for you to insinuate that she was allowing me to be crooked and take days off and not put in time, you're a freaking bozo. Why would she put her job on the line for me or anybody else? Oh, 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 oh. I know why you think she would have did that because you bozos are doing it all the time. Alicia has been doing it. Kim has been doing it. Alicia was doing it for her best friend, who was like an LR or ER employee. Oh, because all of you guys do that. So you think that Vera was doing that, and she was not doing that. So with them saying I did this on purpose, I'm like, nah, that's like an honest mistake. Honest mistake. So at this point, the guy, he just said, well, I know a lot of us need money. And, so sometimes we do things that we shouldn't. I'm like, so are you insinuating I did this on purpose? I said, first of all, no, I don't need money like that. So why would I do that? I would not put my job in jeopardy. If anything, I may have miscalculated. I forgot. But what I do know is it was a glitch in the system. So it was showing that we had time that we really didn't have because a lot of cast members will come down to my office and they would say, well, it shows I have time here. And then I will look in our systems, but it shows they didn't. So there was a either delay or discrepancy, and we all know it. And furthermore, when this bozo asked me, this investigator, well, what about, at the end of the year, what about the audits? Audits haven't been done since COVID. Oops. And that came from multiple managers. So you're asking me about things that you guys aren't even doing. just 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 stupid. But he kept trying to push the issue that I did this on and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. But again, at the time, they were trying to investigate Vera for this, and that's just wasn't true because they were doing that BS. Kim was doing it. Alicia's doing it. Yes, facts. We all know it. We all know you're crooked. We all know what y'all been doing. But anyway, Kim walks out. She walks out of security investigations with this bozo, and they said, "All right, well, write a statement." I'm like, "All right, cool." Wrote a statement, and the only thing in my statement I said, I mean, no, I didn't do it. I didn't do this on purpose. It was an honest mistake. But if you knew this, if you knew that it's been done, why didn't you call me out? That's your fault because I was never properly trained on how to put in time anyway. As a manager, no document I signed that I was trained. Hmm. That's how it went. So in security, we had this little thing to where if a manager wanted to talk to us or anything like that, we take off our little security badge, we give them our blue card and our main entrance pass, and we're like, here you go. It was a funny thing to us. You know what I'm saying? So I did that. I put all this stuff on the table. Now, mind you, I'm already knowing what's going on. I put all my stuff on the table, and Kim comes in and she's like, "Oh, what's that?" I said, look, I already know what's getting ready to happen. I know I'm getting ready to be suspended. So here's my keys, here's my radio, here's all that stuff. She's like, oh no, well, no. That's not what this is. We're just having a discussion. We're just having this discussion. I'm like, okay, I look stupid. All right, cool. Whatever. So this bitch, this uncivilized mutt of a person that I wish I could just throw a pile of freaking hippo crap at. She sits down and I give her the statement and she goes, "Oh, by the way," and I'm like, here it is for the kill. It's been said that you were yelling at a cast member, flinging your arms around, saying, "You don't talk to me that way." And I'm like, I said, "Who said that?" So, well, it doesn't matter. I said, "I'll help you out. Michael, Quinn, and Maya." I said, "But Vera has debunked that already. Go and get Vera. I want my boss in here. I want Vera in here right now." Oh, I don't need to talk to Vera. I don't need to talk to Vera. That is what Kimberly Oliveira said. Because technically, Kim is not my immediate boss. You need to talk to my immediate boss. And my immediate boss has no knowledge of what's going on because your monkey ass is being sneaky, not knowing that I have one up on you and I have a lot of information on you. And a lot of this started happening because of what happened at the restaurant. We'll get into that. We'll get into that. But she started bringing up all of these things. And I'm like, where is this coming from? And this is when she brought up Lexi. With me talking to Lexi, Lexi had nothing to do with this. Kim was just fishing for information. And then that's when she mentioned, well, it's been reported that I sleep hours on end at my desk. Told to her by Sebastian Fuentes. Sebastian said that. And how do I know? Because when I was going through my health issues that I'm still having, nobody knew about but my boss. Now, I did tell the team I was going through blood pressure issues and stress and stuff like that due to this job. They knew it, and Sebastian knew it too. So there would be times that I would get so tired because we're working through our lunch. We're trying to make numbers and try to make sure everything is together that I would start to doze a little bit. And I would have to get up and go for a walk. Sebastian went and told Vera. Vera talked to me about it. I told Vera everything that was going on up here and with my body. A good leader is going to do that. If they hear something, they're going to go see what's going on with their worker. So she knew what was going on. We talked about that. But I guess that wasn't good enough for Sebastian that I didn't get in trouble. So this punk went and told Kimberly. because Kimberly has a vendetta against me already. Well, first of all, she didn't know me, but because of, that monkey mouth heifer, Alicia Rawls, was talking trash about me to Kim. And then Kim developed a dislike for me because on an occasion, I told Kim I don't like unwanted comments. Yes, I don't want you commenting on how my hair looks or how my tie is or how nice my shoes are. I want you commenting on that. I don't want you next to me. I don't want unwanted touching. I don't want any of that stuff. I don't care if you're leaning on somebody, whatever. I don't like any of that stuff. That's probably why she got the attitude or whatever she has vendetta against me also. But it is what it is. Facts, facts. Truth is truth. So that's another episode too. I'll touch more on that. So after we talked about that, and I asked her to get Vera, she would not get Vera for me because Vera could have debunked everything. But where Kim made a mistake is you really should have went to my leader first. She should have went to my leader first, figured all of this out before they pursued anything else. But they didn't because she thought she had me dead to rights. And that just wasn't the case because everything that was brought up against me, not purpose, not putting in time, yelling and screaming at a cast member, sleeping hours on end. There's no evidence. False. Debunked. I put it on my page, even with Bonnie, how she lied and how she is a liar. I put that on my Instagram. I put that on an episode of What's on Jay's Mind. She told Kim she was never in the 9050 building. I have the picture that she was there in 9050 building, and I have the timestamp. So you're lying. But anyway, Kim got real combative. You know what I mean? She gets real combative because she's like, she knows she's not winning this. She knows this is bullshit and this is drama. Excuse me for that. But she knows this is BS and she knows it. So I'm sitting there, I'm kind of smirking because I knew this was gonna happen because with that recording that I shared with you guys, they had been running their mouth and they had been setting me up for a while. They were trying to set Vera up for a while also. Anybody that doesn't get with their program, that's what they do. So I wrote a statement. I just said, none of this is true, didn't happen. I forget what I wrote, but it wasn't much. It's like, none of this is true, didn't happen. Gave it back to her, and she looks at it. She's like, well, at this point, we're going to go ahead and put you on investigatory suspension. Like, you little stupid heifer. If that was the case, why you didn't just put me out before? You wanted to come as a surprise, huh? You wanted to be a surprise, and it was not a surprise because I'm playing chess and you're playing checkers. Facts. That's just facts. And your whole investigation was BS, and we all know it, which is why it took you a month to really fire me. What was going on in that month? And I do know people who have already reached out to me that you talked to said that you were trying to force them to say certain things. If you ask somebody a question, what do you know about Jamal sleeping? And someone tells you never happened. Why do you keep asking questions? Why do you keep trying to push the issue? What I said, the only time I've ever been asleep is on my lunch break, the hour lunch break we're supposed to get, but we normally work through our break. So a few times on my lunch break, yes, I was getting sick. And at times during the stress that you and the company and all of this stuff was causing, it was making me really drowsy. It started to make my health fail, which is why I'm on blood pressure meds now, which is why I'm on other stuff now. Like, let's just be honest with it, which is why I'm having the issues that I'm having now is because of that work environment, the toxic environment that I told you about, that it was toxic. And would you say, well, would you say it's toxic or, is it toxic or you're just having difficulties? Your little stupid heifer is toxic and you know it. And everybody's been saying it, but you want to cover up for your little buddies. That's just what it is. And I can't wait till this podcast goes further and other episodes so I can really put it out there what you have done and what you've been doing. Just like her little comments and the conversations that came out of her office about sexual things that you really shouldn't be talking about at work. We all know. Come on, Kimberly, stop lying, stop fibbing, because with all this stuff coming out, we know you lied. Sebastian lied. Alicia Rawls, you lied too. Everything was a lie. Flat out, point blank, period. But that's how they get down. And that was a situation. And again, it took a month for them to actually call me back in and fire me because she was trying to dig up so much stuff. So the final word out of all of that stuff was, I failed to put in sick time, or I used sick time or vacation time, whatever, that I didn't have. That wasn't enough. That's just a little slap on the wrist because it was a mistake. Nobody told me anything. And if you admitted to me that you knew about it, but you didn't bring it to my attention, why did you wait to bring it to my attention? Second, oh, I started to doze and I was unproductive, whether that was for a minute or two, I was unproductive. So wait a minute. I thought I was sleeping hours on end at my desk that nobody has ever seen because Jamal is the one that's out in his location walking around. Come on, make it make sense. So now it went from that to I started to doze off and I was unproductive for a minute or two. So I got fired for being unproductive, and that was a number two. And the third one, I was unprofessional with a cast member for yelling and screaming, "You don't talk to me that way." And if you look on my YouTube page, there are a few cast members that have said, "I was there that day. It never happened." We know it never happened. Kim is just full of feces. That's what she is. It never happened. Never happened. Vera's in her office. It never happened. We know it never happened. But that's the narrative that Kim wanted to push because she was upset with me. And, I know you have a problem with black males. I know that. And you had a major problem with this black male who told you no. Hmm. Wow. Let's just go ahead and tell the truth here. And I know, Kim, she's sitting in her comfortable office at DCA. And, I know she's trying to set up other people and, getting with Mary Beth, allegedly. So I've been told, but a lot is coming out about you, and we're going to get this all nipped in the bud. And the thing about it is, I'm not going to be quiet about it, which is why I say I created this platform for cast members to come and say their piece. I'm going to speak my piece, and we're going to put a lot of stuff out there. So, yeah, that's what it was. I purposely didn't put in sick time, no evidence of that, of me purposely doing it. I sleep hours on end at my desk, told to Kim by Sebastian Fuentes. But that turned into I dozed. Whether that was for a minute or two, I was unproductive. So because I was unproductive for a minute or two, now I'm fired. So it's like, which one is it? You guys can't even get your lies straight. And I was unprofessional. And the fact of the matter is there was no evidence of any of that. You fired me with no evidence. So let's just be honest. You got sloppy. You got sloppy, Kim. You got caught, and you guys are going to take the fall for it. Facts, actual facts. And as time goes on, I'm going to explain a lot of other things to you guys, but that's really what it was. But a lot of the things that have been going on that I've seen, a little funny business. A lot of you guys were X from being leads or trainers because they didn't want you to. Either Gloria at Disneyland, Gloria Susion, I believe her name is, and Sebastian Fuentes, they didn't want you to. That's just the facts. That's just the facts of the matter. Facts is what it is, which is why it raises the question that why is it that some of these other leads continue to be leads with all of this paperwork on them? What the heck is that about? This is going on at DCA and it's going on at Disneyland. So that's what it was. That's the reason why I was fired. And it makes no sense. Even looking at the paperwork and the documents, it's all over the place. It's all over. But their mentality is this, and this was told to me. We can fire people without any cause. Why? Because we can. Let them file grievances. Let them go to court about it. I'm sure they're going to win. This was told by Kimberly Oliveras. I'm sure they're going to win. But we sent a clear message. And it's not our money. It's Disney's money. So I would say to Disney, how's it that you have managers with this mentality that are costing you guys a lot of money and they're still employed? Yes, Kimberly Oliveras told me that. Facts. And we all know how it goes. So to all you little bogus managers, congratulations. You played yourself. You allowed Kim to play you. You allowed Alicia to play you. And I'm talking to those managers that's sitting up there in that desk, Sebastian and all the other little ones. Dive, I don't really have no issue with you. Your name hasn't come up yet. So yeah, I'll leave you be. But to the other ones that are in there, you guys need to watch out, be careful. I mean, I'm hearing about Sonia. Lutz, I'm hearing about you too. It's crazy, the reports that are coming in. And a lot of things that I hear, I got to believe it because a lot of cast members are providing pictures. They're providing evidence of what they're saying. And it ain't no AI. So you managers need to get it together because you're going to get in trouble with what you're doing with this bullying and things like that, little mind games that you're playing with some of these cast members, but that's what it is. That's how they get down. I know a lot of my information is getting all over the park. You know what I mean? I want to keep all of you guys informed. And again, this is why I created this podcast. So, we can all speak our truth and speak our piece. You know what I'm saying? But these individuals, man, like they played a dirty game, a real dirty game, especially with my case. But I've seen it happen to so many people. But we all know some people give up, they don't get help, they just go away, and that's what they really want you to do. So I hope you guys don't go away. I hope you guys continue the fight and keep going. Now, I do see, and I can report about this, I do see that there's a lot of cast members that are getting tired of that crap and they're filing their cases and doing their thing, and they're winning. Like, you know what I'm saying? They are winning. And it'll be a matter of time. I said this on my Instagram before Disney is going to get tired of all this money flying out the window because of these managers. Because of these managers, and we have a really big issue with these managers. It is. Anybody will tell you. And like I said yesterday, these cast members will tell you exactly what's going on if you can guarantee them their job. If you can guarantee them safety, they'll tell you the managers and the leads that are doing certain things to them, bullying them, sexually harassing them, stuff of that nature. Like it's like disgusting. Like you freaking managers that are doing it, especially downstairs, especially. Now, one or two complaints, three or four, five, six, it's like, whoa, 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 what is going on? But no one does anything about these things because labor relations, HR, employee relations, and the managers, they're all connected. They're all connected. And it is just crap that these people don't have help. Perfect example. How is it that if I have an issue with a manager and I go to HR and I tell HR I don't want this manager in the office, I show up for the HR meeting or labor relations or employee relations meeting, and that manager's in the room. How do you want me to talk about a complaint about a manager if that manager's in that room. Happen to lots of people. And even if there's a different manager in, that manager gets on the phone and they start calling their buddies. Well, this cast member said this, and that about you. Like, are you guys really that stupid? You know, when you conduct an investigation, you don't flat out, you don't, you don't come right out and say, well, George said this about you. You said, well, it was reported that you and George had some kind of altercation or some kind of disagreement or something. You want to tell us about that? So you're not pointing fingers at the other person, but that's what you guys do, Angelo. That's what you guys do. You guys are messy, you're sloppy about it. And when they bring you guys a complaint about some type of harassment, don't make them feel like it didn't happen. Don't make them feel like they're crazy. Look into it. But you guys don't want to look into it because you want to protect your friends. And that's actual factuals. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Not the Happiest Place podcast. Thank y'all for rocking with me. If y'all want to support this show, Cash App Venmo is there. Holla at me if you have information. Get to my Instagram for daily content. Happy 26, y'all. I'll see y'all soon.